foul on Chandler. I don't, you know, and watching, especially in this game today, it's so hard. I don't know how they distinguish when they call that and when they don't call that. Now, sometimes it's, you know, you put two hands on a guy on his back in the lower defensive box, that's a foul. But on these particular ones where guys are just banging, did he put that second hand on? For me, that's the hardest thing to figure out is when they call that, when they let it go.
Well, Mike Breen, you've got questions. Ronnie Nunn has answers. Welcome back to Making the Call with Ronnie Nunn, 3D, Jared Greenberg. Ronnie, this was the impetus for the entire segment. Mike has a very valid point.
Yeah, and I'm glad Mike brings it out. He's got a little officiating in his background blood, and it's good. This is a kind of a play. When you look at it, there are a two-hand restriction. And here is where Chandler puts his second hand and inhibits the curl move. And that's when Howard clears him, as you'll see right here. The left hand goes on, Howard clears the left hand, and rightly so, we get the first foul, which is Chandler's. And that's a key piece of a first post-up segment here.
Now, Ronnie, in our era, you could use the bridge and you can have one arm up.
Yes.
Now, today in the post, things is different. You cannot use two hands. It's more one hand and one hand up, correct?
No, actually, you're right. You cannot use two hands, but you could still use the arm bar.
Okay.
And you can still use the hand. You can use a bent arm. And you can use just a forearm.
Right.
So other than that, no two hands.
So when that second hand, so if you're in the arm bar, regardless of where that second hand comes, it's most of the time going to be a foul.
Yeah, you can put the second hand as long as you don't impede the curl.
Okay, there it is.
All right, our teaching of the post moves is going to continue back at the Garden. Same game, physical between Orlando and the Knicks. Let's take a look at this one.
Yeah, and this was a game that really you could learn a lot about post play, whether you're and the focus is right there with Turkoglu and Carmelo. And first you're going to see here is an extended arm that's going to impede him from coming across the lane where the ball's going to swing. That's the first. Then you're going to see Carmelo clamp him, which is the second foul, and then finally they finish with the extended arm impeding him again. Watch this sequence, 3 fouls in one. One.
That's a foul right there.
Right there.
On Turkoglu.
Now he clears from clamping, and Turkoglu still has an extended arm impeding him from that situation. So he got across the lane. This is a case we have a non-call incorrect. And the officials will be noted that, and when they look that over, they'll realize this is a play we should have had. And coverage is important in that play because certain people weren't seeing it correctly.
And you saw Melo. He was looking for it. He wanted that whistle somewhere.
Yeah. A lot of contact.
We'll leave the Garden for a moment, go to New Orleans, where Carl Landry was involved in a play similar to teach us more about post moves.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's another thing about extended arms and overplay, legal overplay. Take a look at these two guys right there. That's what we're looking at. And we're going to see right now Harrington attempt to overplay. But before we do that, let's watch what Carl Landry does to impede him defensively from overplaying. Watch what we have here. Here we have a hook. Right in here, right following the hook, we will see a extended straight arm out, and that impedes him from getting over the top to overplay. Right. And now as Harrington comes through that, the official correctly recognizes that in this negotiation, it's the offense that is illegal, calls the offensive foul. Everything's good.
So Carl Landry needs to bring that arm down, maybe the midsection area, to try to create space, and maybe it's not a foul.
In all these areas, I will say correct to you, in all these areas there are techniques in which to play legally and still get your entry pass into you.
And it's also interesting, too, as we touched upon in the first segment, the referee has to watch both sides of the ball, offense and defense, and that certainly impacts the call.
Yeah, and that was an excellent call.
Well, we heard from one great announcer. When we return, we're going to hear from another. Sometimes announcers in the NBA get a little overzealous. Sometimes they're right on the money.
Yeah.
We'll find out which case is next on Making the Call with Ronnie Nunn.